Ronan's ship glided silently through the star-filled sky. He had traveled far from Earth, across countless light-years, to a dangerous part of the galaxy. The mission was simple but risky: stop a galactic warlord named Vorek, who had been terrorizing multiple planets. Stories of Vorek's cruelty were known everywhere. No one dared stand against him. But humans had a reputation for courage and clever thinking, and Ronan carried that hope. As he approached Vorek's planet, the sensors detected massive defense systems surrounding the main city. Energy shields shimmered, and huge weapons moved along the walls. Many would have turned back, but Ronan only adjusted his course. His mind raced with plans and possibilities. He knew he could not fight Vorek head-on. That would be suicide. Strategy was the key. Ronan landed his ship in a hidden canyon outside the city. He stepped out in his armored suit, feeling the strange gravity of the planet beneath his boots. The air was thick but breathable, tinged with a scent like iron. He checked his equipment one last time and whispered to himself, "Time to end this." He moved carefully, using shadows and rocky terrain to avoid patrols. He could hear Vorek's soldiers communicating in harsh, guttural tones. The humans had never encountered such beings, but Ronan relied on his instincts. Slowly, silently, he crept closer to the heart of the city, where Vorek awaited. Finally, he reached the inner fortress. The doors were massive, and he had to think quickly. Using a device he had built himself, he disabled the security locks. The doors opened, revealing Vorek's throne room. The warlord sat on a high platform, towering and fearsome. His armor glimmered with dark energy, and his eyes burned with anger. "You are brave to come here, human," Vorek said in a voice that echoed through the chamber. "But bravery will not save you." Ronan did not respond with words. He analyzed the room quickly. He noticed energy panels along the walls and a weak point in Vorek's armor where his right shoulder joint moved. The human mind was small compared to some alien brains, but it was flexible, clever, and full of creativity. Ronan relied on that. The battle began. Vorek lunged with strength and speed beyond human ability. Ronan dodged, rolled, and used the environment to his advantage. He triggered energy panels, creating blinding flashes and temporary shields. Each move was calculated. Every action forced Vorek to react. The warlord had not faced someone who thought so differently before. Minutes felt like hours. The fight was exhausting, but Ronan noticed a final opportunity. Vorek made a mistake, overextending his attack. Ronan used a small energy net to immobilize the warlord temporarily. With one precise strike, Vorek fell to the ground. Silence filled the throne room. The warlord was defeated. Ronan stepped back, breathing heavily. Victory was his, but it did not feel complete. He looked around and realized something else. In the shadows, he saw a figure watching him carefully. She was not a soldier. She was a woman, tall and proud, with silver blue skin and sharp, intelligent eyes. Her expression was calm but full of sorrow. "You killed him," she said softly. Her voice carried authority and pain. "And now, everything changes." Ronan lowered his weapon. "I did what I had to do," he replied. "He was a danger to the galaxy. I did not come to harm anyone else." The woman studied him closely. "I am Illyra," she said. "He was my husband. You have taken my world from me, yet you also hold the power to shape the future. I must speak with you about what comes next." Ronan nodded. He understood that this was only the beginning. Defeating Vorek had solved one problem, but it had also opened a door to a much larger challenge. The woman, Elira, was not only a widow but a leader. Her people would follow her, and she had plans that might change the course of the galaxy. Ronan felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The mission was far from over. Standing there, facing Elira, he realized that courage and skill had brought him this far, but wisdom and understanding would be what carried him forward. The story of human bravery in the galaxy was just beginning, and Ronan would be at the center of it. Ronan stood in the throne room, watching Elira. Her eyes were steady and full of thought. He had expected anger or hatred, but instead, she looked calm and serious. The air felt tense, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Elira, Ronan said carefully, I did what I had to do. Your husband was a threat. The galaxy is safer now. Elira nodded slowly. I understand your words, human, she replied. But my life, my people, and my future are tied to what you have done. There is one thing I need from you, something unusual, but necessary. Ronan frowned. What do you mean? I need you to help me have a child, Elira said clearly, her gaze unwavering. My child must carry the strength of your kind and the legacy of my people. Only then can the future be safe for both our worlds. Ronan blinked. His mind raced. He had faced deadly battles, negotiated with warlords, and survived countless dangers, but this request was unexpected. He took a step back, feeling a mix of confusion and responsibility. That is, a serious matter, he said slowly. You want me to be the father of your child? Yes, Elira said. In my culture, this is the way to ensure survival. Your intelligence, courage, and resilience are qualities my child will need. Together, we can create someone strong enough to unite our people and protect the galaxy from future threats. Ronan looked down at his hands. He thought of the lives he had already changed by defeating Vorek. And now, he faced another challenge, one far different from any battle. The child she spoke of was not just a life, but a symbol, a key to the future. Why me? He asked. There are others in the galaxy. Why must it be a human? Elira stepped closer. Humans survive when others fail. Your kind adapts, learns, and overcomes. My people have strength and skill, but alone, we are not enough. Together, we can create someone who carries the best of both worlds. Ronan felt the weight of her words. He understood the logic, but the responsibility was enormous. To agree meant stepping into a future he could not fully control. To refuse could anger her and endanger more lives. He did not speak immediately. Elira continued. I am not asking for a bond of marriage or love. I am asking for hope, for the survival of our children and our people. Your courage brought me here, human. Your choice now will shape what comes next. Ronan studied her face. He saw honesty and determination, not manipulation. She had suffered loss, yet she looked forward with purpose. He could feel her resolve and knew she was counting on him. I need time to think, Ronan said finally. This is not an easy decision. Elira nodded again. I expected as much. But be aware, time is limited. Forces in the galaxy are watching us. My enemies will not wait, and your choice will affect more than just us. As they spoke, Ronan realized the truth in her warning. Across the stars, those who had supported Vorek or feared him were preparing to act. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and the future of many would depend on what he decided. Ronan felt a strange mixture of fear and determination. He had faced impossible odds before, and he had survived. Now, survival and courage were only part of the challenge. Wisdom, understanding, and trust would guide him as much as skill and strength. Finally, he looked at Elira and said, "I will not make a decision lightly. But I promise, I will consider your request carefully. Whatever happens, I will act to protect your people and the galaxy." Elira's face softened. "That is all I ask, human. For now, we prepare. The days ahead will not be easy, and you will see the world I come from. There is much you must understand before the choice becomes real." Ronan nodded. He knew the journey ahead would test him in ways he could not yet imagine. He had killed a warlord and survived. Now, he would face a challenge that was far more delicate and personal, a challenge that could shape the future of two civilizations. He looked out the throne room window at the stars beyond. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and opportunity. And somewhere in that vastness, the choice he would make would decide not only his life, but the lives of countless others. Ronan took a deep breath. The battle was over, but the real journey was just beginning. Ronan followed Elira through the tall, silver gates of her city. The streets glowed with soft light, and towers stretched high into the sky, shining like crystal under the sun. He had never seen a place like this. Everything was advanced, yet perfectly balanced with nature. Trees grew alongside the buildings, and streams of clear water ran through the streets. "This is my home," Elira said proudly. "You will see why my people value strength, wisdom, and honor. Every action here matters." Ronan looked around in awe. The citizens were tall and strong, moving with discipline and purpose. Their skin shimmered in shades of blue and silver, and their eyes glowed faintly in the sunlight. Despite their strength, there was a calm elegance in their movements. It was clear that they were trained for both thought and battle. "You must understand our culture to make the right decision," Elira continued. "My people are warriors, but we also value intelligence. Decisions are not made lightly, and consequences reach far beyond one person." They reached a large hall where elders sat in a semicircle. Their robes were decorated with symbols that seemed to tell stories of past battles and victories. Elira introduced Ronan to them. "This human saved our people from Vorek," she said. "He has shown courage and wisdom. I ask you to watch and guide him as he learns what is at stake." The elders examined Ronan carefully. One spoke in a calm, deep voice. "Humans are clever. They survive when others fail. But can one human bear the weight of our traditions and the future of our people?" Ronan bowed slightly. "I do not yet know everything, but I am willing to learn and help in any way I can." The elder nodded. "Then you will be observed, tested, and taught. Only understanding our ways can prepare you for what may come." Over the next days, Ronan was shown the ways of Elira's people. He trained in their combat style, which combined speed, precision, and intelligence. They taught him how to use energy fields, how to navigate their floating platforms, and how to read strategic patterns in battle. He learned quickly, his human mind adapting to techniques he had never imagined. More importantly, Ronan observed their way of life. Every action was deliberate. Children were trained in both thought and combat. Decisions were guided by counsels, and respect for life was balanced with strength. He realized that this culture had survived centuries of conflict because its people understood both war and peace. One evening, Elira took Ronan to a quiet terrace overlooking the city. "You see our world," she said. "It is beautiful, but fragile. Vorek tried to destroy it. Others will try to. That is why my child must be strong. That is why your part matters. Ronan looked out at the glowing city. He began to understand that her request was not personal or unusual in their context. It was practical and necessary. Her people were not cruel or selfish. They sought survival, and the child would carry the best of both human and alien qualities. Suddenly, alarms sounded across the city. Red lights flashed, and messages came from the outer perimeter. Ronan and Elira ran to the command center. A group of rogue ships had approached the planet, clearly watching and waiting for an opportunity to attack. "This is what I warned you about," Elira said calmly. "Enemies of my people will never rest. They see weakness as a chance to strike. You must learn to act quickly, human." Ronan felt the adrenaline rush. He had fought Vorek, but this was different. The enemy was unknown, fast, and unpredictable. Together, he and Elira coordinated the city's defenses. Using his strategies and their technology, they managed to repel the attackers. The city was safe, but Ronan realized the galaxy was a far more dangerous place than he had imagined. As the lights dimmed and the alarms ceased, Elira looked at him with respect. "You see now," she said, "why the choice you make is not simple. This world, my people, and our future are all connected. You have a part to play, whether you realize it or not." Ronan nodded. He understood that courage alone would not be enough. He needed understanding, patience, and trust. The days ahead would teach him lessons he could never learn in a battle. And the future of two civilizations rested on the choices he would make. Days passed as Ronan trained and learned about Elira's people. Each day brought new lessons, not only in combat but also in understanding the wisdom and traditions of her world. Ronan discovered that the alien warriors were not merely fighters, they were thinkers, planners, and protectors of their home. He admired their discipline and skill, and he felt a quiet respect growing for Elira, who had led them through so many challenges. Elira watched Ronan carefully. He moved differently from her people, relying on intuition and clever thinking rather than sheer strength. That made him unpredictable and effective. She began to trust his judgment and often consulted him during strategy sessions. Ronan's insight saved them from several minor conflicts, earning him admiration from the elders and warriors alike. One morning, as the sun painted the city in golden light, Elira invited Ronan to accompany her on a patrol beyond the city walls. The landscape was wild and beautiful, with crystal rivers and towering cliffs. "You must see the world beyond our city," she said. "Our people protect more than the walls and towers. We protect life itself." Ronan nodded, taking in the sights. He noticed how deeply the people respected the land and how every decision considered both safety and harmony. "Your people are remarkable," he said. "I have never seen anything like this. The balance you maintain is inspiring." Elira smiled faintly. "It is our way. Strength without wisdom leads to destruction. I wanted you to understand this because the child we speak of will inherit not only strength but also responsibility. That is the lesson I hope you will carry forward." As they walked, they encountered a small band of hostile creatures moving near a village. The creatures were aggressive and fast, but Ronan quickly analyzed their movements. "If we flank them here and here," he said, pointing to strategic positions, "we can drive them back without harming the villagers." Elira followed his lead, and together they guided the villagers to safety while dealing with the threat. The creatures were pushed back, and no one was hurt. Watching Ronan act calmly and decisively, Elira realized that he had more than courage, he had the patience and intelligence necessary to make difficult decisions. That evening, After returning to the city, Elira and Ronan sat by a quiet reflecting pool. The water mirrored the stars above, and the air was calm. "You are learning fast," Elira said. "I did not expect you to adapt so quickly to our ways." Ronan shrugged. "I have faced danger before, but I never thought I would be part of something like this. I am beginning to understand the importance of what we are doing." Elira looked at him closely. "Do you understand why I asked for your help? This is not only about survival. It is about hope. Our people need a future they can trust, and the child we hope to have represents that future." Ronan felt a weight settle on his shoulders. He had already faced life and death, but now he faced responsibility for generations to come. "I see that," he said softly. "And I want to do what is right, not just for you, but for your people and the galaxy." A quiet silence passed between them. It was a moment of trust and understanding. They had fought together, learned together, and now they began to rely on each other in ways neither had expected. In the following days, their bond grew. Ronan helped Elira plan defenses, train her warriors, and understand threats from rival factions. Elira shared stories of her life before Vorek, her dreams for the future, and the hopes she held for her child. Ronan listened, learning to see the galaxy not only as a place of danger but as a place where courage, wisdom, and unity could change everything. Then one evening, a scout arrived with urgent news. A group of Vorek's former allies had gathered near a neighboring planet, preparing to strike at Elira's territories. The threat was growing, and the challenges ahead were becoming real. Ronan stood beside Elira on the balcony, looking at the stars. "We are not only protecting your people now," he said. "We are protecting a future. And I understand why the choice I make is so important." Elira placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have already shown that courage alone is not enough. Together, we can face what comes next. Trust, understanding, and strength will guide us. And in time, you will see why the child must be part of this future." Ronan nodded. The bond between them was no longer only about duty or strategy. It was about trust, respect, and a shared responsibility that reached far beyond themselves. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but together, they felt ready to face whatever challenges were coming. Ronan stood on the observation deck, staring at the star systems displayed in holographic form. Red alerts blinked across the map, showing enemy fleets gathering near neighboring planets. The remnants of Vorek's allies were uniting, seeking revenge and control. The galaxy had not forgotten the fall of their leader, and now the danger was growing fast. Elira joined him, her expression calm but serious. "They are moving quickly. If we do not act, more worlds will suffer. Our people cannot face this alone." Ronan nodded. "We need a plan. We have technology, strategy, and skilled warriors, but they are numerous. We need precision." Together, they worked through the night. Ronan suggested using small, fast ships to disrupt the enemy supply lines while Elira organized her warriors to defend key planets. The combination of human ingenuity and alien strength made their strategy unpredictable. It was the only way to protect innocent lives while minimizing losses. As preparations continued, Elira shared a secret with Ronan. "My husband left a hidden weapon, one that could shift the balance of power. But it is dangerous. Only a child with both human and alien traits can safely inherit it in the future." Ronan felt a chill at her words. The responsibility was greater than he imagined. This was no longer just about survival, it was about the future of entire civilizations. "Then the child is more than a symbol," he said. "It is a safeguard for peace. Yes, Elira replied. That is why my request matters. If we fail, not only will our people suffer, but countless others across the galaxy could be at risk. You see why your choice is so important. Days later, the first attacks began. Rogue fleets struck unprotected colonies, spreading fear and confusion. Ronan led a strike team in one of the fastest ships, dodging energy blasts and guiding civilians to safety. Elira coordinated planetary defenses, her calm voice guiding her people through panic and chaos. Ronan realized that the hybrid child she hoped for was more than a future hope, it was a necessity. A being who combined human intelligence and alien resilience would inherit not only physical strength but also the wisdom to face such dangers. The thought strengthened his resolve. One evening, after a day of intense fighting, Ronan and Elira returned to her city. The warriors were tired but alive. The city had survived, but the threat remained. Ronan looked at Elira and saw the weight she carried. She was strong, yet even she could not face everything alone. We are doing all we can, Ronan said quietly. But the attacks will keep coming. The galaxy does not forgive weakness. Elira nodded. That is why I need you. You understand danger, strategy, and sacrifice. You see the bigger picture. My people respect strength, but they also need someone who can guide them wisely. That is what you bring. Over the next few days, Ronan and Elira worked together to fortify cities, train warriors, and gather intelligence. They discovered that a coalition of former warlords planned a massive assault on a strategic planet, one that could decide the fate of surrounding systems. Failure was not an option. Ronan studied the battle maps late into the night. We will need more than strength, he said. We need to predict their moves, cut off their supply, and force them into a position where they cannot win. Elira placed a hand on his shoulder. You are learning quickly. You understand that our strength alone is not enough. Together, human and alien, we can overcome even the greatest threat. The day of the battle arrived. Ronan and Elira led their combined forces, human strategies complementing alien skill. Small squads disrupted enemy plans, while Elira's warriors defended key points. The fight was intense, and danger was everywhere. But each victory strengthened the trust between Ronan and Elira. After the battle, as they looked at the stars once more, Ronan realized something important. The child she wished to have would not just inherit power and courage, it would inherit trust, understanding, and the ability to unite different worlds. The future of the galaxy could rest on the choices they made now. Elira turned to him. This is why your decision matters. The galaxy is changing, and our child could be the hope that guides it. Ronan nodded silently. He had faced war, strategy, and danger, but this challenge was far greater. It was about shaping a future where courage, wisdom, and unity could create lasting peace. And he knew that together, he and Elira could meet that challenge. The sky above Elira's home planet darkened with enemy ships. The coalition of former warlords had gathered their forces, determined to strike at the heart of her territory. Red warning lights flashed across the city, signaling the approach of the fleet. Ronan and Elira stood side by side on the command balcony, their eyes scanning the horizon. This is it, Elira said calmly. The outcome of this battle will decide the safety of our people and the neighboring systems. We cannot fail. Ronan tightened his grip on the railing. We have trained, planned, and prepared. We can do this. We must do this. The first wave of enemy ships appeared, firing energy beams that streaked across the sky. Ronan's ships, guided by human tactics, moved swiftly to intercept them. Elira commanded her planetary defenses with precision, using energy shields and strategic barriers to protect key areas. The city's warriors were ready, their movements a perfect blend of strength and discipline. Ronan led a squadron to flank the enemy fleet. Using clever maneuvers and rapid communication, they disrupted the attackers' formations. Smaller ships weaved through the enemy lines, disabling engines and cutting off supply routes. Ronan's mind worked faster than the enemy expected. Every move was calculated, every decision critical. Meanwhile, Elira and her warriors faced the ground forces sent to infiltrate the city. The battle was fierce, but she moved with skill and focus, coordinating attacks while keeping her people safe. Her voice carried authority, guiding her warriors to protect civilians and repel intruders. Ronan watched her and felt admiration grow stronger. She was not only a leader but also a symbol of hope and courage. Hours passed, and the battle raged on both in the sky and on the ground. Enemy forces were relentless, but Ronan and Elira's combined efforts held them back. Small victories built momentum, forcing the coalition into a defensive stance. Ronan's strategies, paired with Elira's warriors' precision, created an unbreakable line. At one critical moment, an enemy flagship broke through the defenses, aiming for the city's energy core. Ronan reacted immediately, directing a squad to intercept while Elira led ground forces to protect the perimeter. The flagship was stopped, its crew surrendering under precise and careful maneuvers. Ronan's quick thinking saved the city from potential devastation. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, the enemy forces retreated. The coalition of warlords had been defeated, their ships damaged or destroyed, and their ground forces scattered. The battle was won, but the cost was clear. The city had suffered some damage, and many warriors were exhausted, yet the people were safe, and hope remained alive. Ronan and Elira stood on the balcony again, looking at the stars that had witnessed the battle. "We did it," Ronan said, though his voice carried the weight of the struggle. Elira nodded. "Yes, but the victory is not just in defeating them. It is in showing that courage, intelligence, and unity can protect the innocent. You understand why the child is so important now, don't you?" Ronan looked at her, his mind clear. "I see it. The child would inherit not only strength but also the ability to think, to lead, and to unite. That is why your people need this future." Elira smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and gratitude. "You have proven yourself, human. Not just in battle, but in understanding the responsibility we carry. My people respect strength, but they respect wisdom even more. You have both." For a moment, silence passed between them, filled only by the sounds of repair crews and the soft hum of energy shields. The battle had tested them in every way possible, and together, they had succeeded. Ronan realized that he had grown beyond being a lone warrior. He was now part of something larger, something that could shape the future of an entire galaxy. His courage, combined with Elira's skill and wisdom, had created a new hope. "This is only the beginning," Elira said quietly. "The galaxy will always have threats, but together, we can meet them. And one day, the child we hope for will carry that strength forward." Ronan nodded. He understood fully now. The battles, the danger, and the choices they had made were preparing them for a future where hope, courage, and unity could thrive. Together, they had won the battle, and together, they would face the challenges to come. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but for the first time, Ronan felt that it could also be guided by wisdom and courage. And the story of human bravery and alien strength was just beginning. The battle was over, and the galaxy seemed quieter for the first time in years. Ronan stood beside Elira on a hill overlooking the city. The sun reflected off the towers and crystal rivers, casting a warm glow over the people who had survived the recent attacks. The streets were alive with laughter and music, as citizens repaired the damage and celebrated their victory. Ronan turned to Elira. "We did everything we could. The city is safe, and your people have hope again." Elira nodded, her eyes soft but full of determination. "Yes, but this is more than just about survival. The future depends on the choices we make now. You understand what I mean, don't you?" Ronan took a deep breath. He thought about all the battles, the strategy sessions, and the challenges they had faced together. He thought about the countless lives that had depended on their decisions. And he thought about Elira's words, the child who could carry the strength of both human and alien civilizations. "I understand," he said finally. "I will do my part. I will help create a future where both our worlds can thrive." Elira smiled. "Then there is no more delay. The child must be conceived. It is not just for my people, but for the galaxy itself. They will carry hope, courage, and unity into a new era." Ronan nodded, feeling the weight and importance of his decision. This was more than responsibility, it was a promise. A promise to protect life, to honor the strength of Elira's people, and to guide a future generation that could face any challenge. The days that followed were filled with preparation, learning, and understanding. Ronan and Elira spent time together, not as warrior and commander, but as partners working toward a common goal. They shared stories of their worlds, their dreams, and their hopes for the child. Trust and respect grew between them, stronger with each passing day. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the horizon, Elira turned to Ronan. "You see now, do you not? Courage alone is not enough. Understanding, patience, and wisdom are just as important. This child will inherit more than strength, they will inherit hope." Ronan smiled, a quiet confidence in his eyes. "I see it. And I am ready. I will do everything I can to protect that hope and ensure the child grows in a world worth living in." The citizens of the city gathered to celebrate the victory and the new beginning. Humans and aliens worked side by side, repairing homes, planting gardens, and sharing meals. Children laughed and ran through the streets, unaware of the dangers that had once threatened them. The city was alive with optimism, a symbol of unity and survival. Elira placed her hand on Ronan's shoulder. "Your courage brought change, human. Your wisdom will guide the future. Together, we have proven that two worlds can stand as one." Ronan nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had fought battles, faced impossible odds, and survived, but this was different. This was the beginning of a story that would last generations. The child they would bring into the galaxy would carry not only life but also the lessons, courage, and unity that had saved countless worlds. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Ronan and Elira stood together, looking out over the city they had protected. The galaxy was vast and filled with unknown dangers, but for the first time, they felt a true sense of hope. "I am ready for the future," Ronan said softly. "For the challenges, the responsibilities, and the life we will create together." Elira smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of the stars. "And so it begins, human. The future is ours to protect, and our child will carry the legacy of both our worlds. The galaxy will remember this day." Ronan took her hand, feeling the strength and trust between them. Together, they had faced war, danger, and uncertainty. Together, they would face whatever came next. And in the heart of that partnership, a new beginning had begun, a future where courage, wisdom, and unity could guide the galaxy toward hope. The night was calm, the stars shining brightly, and in that moment, Ronan knew that human bravery and alien strength had created something extraordinary. The story was ending, but the adventure of the future had just begun.